Okay. 10 feet tall and bulletproof. That little song we're listening to. He's a little bitty, fuzzy Morocco looking lion talking about brushing up on looking down. He says, I'm working on my roar. He's going to be king someday. You know, I thought about this mini sermon when I was on my way to work today, and I saw this gentleman walking through the parking lot. It was the back side of the building, and where we live, we got to go that way to get out on the main street. And he was hobbling along. You could tell that he was crippled up. Looked like he had one leg that might have been not able to work very well. You could tell he was like slinging his leg as he went. And I got around to the front of him. As I was passing by, I looked in my rearview mirror to see if I might recognize the gentleman. And I never. But he had a really rough exterior look, like he had been down the road and back again, you know. Maybe a 30-year war veteran or something. Really rough looking guy. And you could tell that he was well past his prime. He wasn't really old, but he looked like he was about probably my age, you know, 57, 25, 30, no, I'm kidding. 57, 60, something like that. And you know, it made me wonder how he got that way. Maybe he was a hero. Maybe he was one of those fellows that thought he was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And you know, I know I've had those days where I thought I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Some of the worst days of my life started out like that. And especially when you're young. It seems like every 18-year-old, 18 to 21, think they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And some young men, when they get working out, they get their muscles all built up, and they walk around like this. Their arms don't really swing, they just hang there. All that's in the head, fellas. But they think they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, you know. I remember being in the Marine Corps, and one of the things the Marine Corps does is try to portray that image into the mind of those young men, that they actually are 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And I remember my drill instructor saying, when you get out of here, he says, if you get into a fight and it's not more than 8 or 10 men, don't worry about it. You know. And that was just not a true statement. But in their mind, you know. And I think maybe all of that, you know, like everybody wants to be Rambo, you know what I mean? Run up the mountain, rip out their clothes from the side of a hill, and become invincible and beat up a whole town and half the army. The flesh is very tricky, very tricky. It can tell you some lies, man. It can tell you some lies. It'll tell you that you're all right when you're not. That's what the Bible says. The Bible says the light shone into the darkness, but men love darkness rather than light. Jesus is that light that makes us realize that we are not 10 foot tall and bulletproof, because this light sheds truth on everything. On everything. And I'm going to tell you, something, man. Some of the truth that he is showing me is really hard to handle. Really hard to handle. See, I see the truth of my loved ones. I'll never forget what I felt like when I found out what a true friend is, according to the standard of who Jesus is to us. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that, because I don't want you all, or all of you, or any of you, to start measuring your family by the way that God showed me to measure mine, according to what a friend was. Children, wife, mother, brothers, sisters, every one of them. Measure according to the standard of Jesus. Let me tell you something, they're going to come up extremely short. Because Christ said, now this is not the total standard, but Christ said, they that do the will of my Father is my mother, my brother, and my sister. You know? But if we measure ourselves according to that standard, we're going to come up really, really short. And that's a hard thing to handle. We find out, you know, those people that really are 10 feet tall and bulletproof, you never know it. You know? They said Samson, you couldn't tell him from any other man until he jumped up and started fighting. Moses was an extremely humble man. You know? Some of the biggest men I know, you would never know that they were 10 feet tall and bulletproof, so to speak. The only millionaire I know, man, he walks around dressed like me. You know, he walks around dressed like I am now. And he's a hard worker. Man, he's a hard worker. And he deserves everything. And he deserves respect, you know. We just don't have enough prestige going in the right direction to make the heroes out of the men that we really know. Those football players, they're not 10 feet tall, bulletproof. Man, that's according to the standard of the Lord. Not even close. I don't care if you take the most famous one in the bunch. You know, I can name some that I think might have come close. You know, like Michael Jordan. He was somebody that's truly respected of most everybody. But you know something, I think he comes short. I really think he comes short. But I'll tell you what now, Jesus Christ is the one that's 10 feet tall and bulletproof. You know, they say, well, they killed him on a nose. He laid his life down. Nobody killed him. They left the most important part of that man loose. He could at any time have called the 12 legions of angels, the Bible said. They left the most dangerous part of him loose. They never gagged him, not one time, nor even attempted. But he was obedient even unto death. He truly was 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Okay, alright, God bless. Thank you for joining me. Come back again when we can have another great subject right here, Crossing the Middle Ministry.